In the shadow of the Acropolis, in 399 BC, the golden age of Athens teetered on the edge of darkness. Socrates, a humble stonemason turned relentless seeker of truth, wandered the streets, challenging the wise and the powerful with his piercing questions. "What is justice? What is virtue?" he asked, exposing the flaws in men's souls. But in a city scarred by war and betrayal, such probing would seal his fate. This is the story of why Socrates truly died, not just for his words, but for the enemies they created. Athens had just emerged from the brutal Peloponnesian War, a decades-long clash with Sparta that ended in humiliating defeat in 404 BC. The once mighty democracy crumbled under a puppet regime, the 30 Tyrants, a group of ruthless oligarchs who unleashed terror, executing rivals and seizing property. Among their leaders were Critias and Charmides, former students of Socrates. Though he never joined their bloody rule, his ties to these men painted him as a sympathizer in the eyes of many. When democracy was restored a year later in 403 BC, an amnesty promised to heal old wounds. No one could be punished for past crimes under the tyrants, yet resentment festered. Socrates, with his sharp tongue, continued to mock the democratic system. He scoffed at electing leaders by lottery, insisting only the skilled should govern. His method, endless questioning, humiliated politicians and craftsmen alike, earning him powerful foes. Enter the trial. 3 men stepped forward: Meletus, a young poet; Lycon, a rhetorician; and Anytus, a wealthy tanner and staunch Democrat. They accused Socrates of 2 crimes: refusing to honor the city's gods and corrupting the youth with dangerous ideas. But beneath these charges lay deeper grudges. Anytus, bitter that Socrates had advised his son against following in his footsteps, saw him as a threat to family and state. Socrates claimed a divine inner voice guided him, which some twisted into introducing false gods. In truth, after the war's disasters, plague, famine, defeat, Athenians feared angering the heavens further. Socrates' unorthodox views seemed a risk to the city's fragile peace. In his defense, Socrates stood defiant. He cross-examined Meletus, exposing the accuser's contradictions.
"I am Athens' gadfly, stinging the lazy horse of the state to action."
He spoke of his military service, his poverty, his quest for wisdom, but he refused to beg for mercy or parade his weeping family, a common tactic. Instead, he suggested the city reward him with free meals, like an Olympic hero. The jury, swayed by old suspicions, voted narrowly, guilty. For his punishment, the accusers demanded death. Socrates proposed a small fine, but it was too late. By a wider margin, the sentence came: poison hemlock. Imprisoned, he turned down chances to flee, loyal to the laws he had criticized. Surrounded by friends, he drank the fatal cup, his body growing cold as he urged them to care for their souls. Why was Socrates killed? Not merely for doubting gods or teaching youth, but for embodying dissent in a wounded democracy. His links to tyrants, his barbs at power, his challenge to complacency, these were the real poisons Athens could not tolerate. Yet in death, he became immortal, a symbol of truth over tyranny. As Plato, his student, would write, "The unexamined life is not worth living."